EPIX, ESSA Pharma is up 196%. But just who are they? Why are they pumping? And should they be in your portfolio? Time to find out. Time to get focused.
Time to get focused with Focus on Investing.
Welcome to Focus on Investing, where we research and keep you informed of all of the latest cryptos, stocks, commodities, and forex pairs, so that all you have to do is decide whether or not you want to invest. We also release these videos as soon as we record them. So if you're watching this currently now and you've received a notification, this opportunity is probably still available to you. If you would like to take advantage of these opportunities and not miss out on any opportunities, then make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. All right, what we're going to do is take this video in 3 stages. The first stage is we want to look into and research a bit more about who ESSA Pharma are. Next, we're going to find out why exactly they're pumping. And lastly, we're going to do some technical analysis and research their chart on TradingView. And without further ado, let's get this proceeding this evening. All right, this is ESSAPharma.com. All of the links that we cover today will be in the description, so you can take your time and go through them in finer detail if you so wish to do so. All right, so this is their homepage, ESSA Pharma, developing the next generation of treatments for prostate cancer. Okay, so obviously pharma means they're a pharmaceutical company and they do treatments for cancer. So about ESSA. ESSA is a clinical stage pharmaceutical company. Okay, clinical stage, so they do a lot of trials and tests focused on developing novel therapies for the treatment of prostate cancer. Pretty self-explanatory. ESSA's lead clinical candidate, EPI-7386, represents a new approach to disrupting androgen receptor signaling pathway, the primary driver of prostate cancer growth. Okay, interesting. So they develop novel therapies that intercept the way that prostate cancer grows. Interesting. Here they've got, we're going to do maybe a little bit more to learn about them. So they got some news. Why I like to look at the news is because it kind of just gives you an idea of what their latest developments are. So, and what they're currently up to, you know. So on October 26th, which is today, update results from the phase, was that 1-2 or 1 of 2 study of ESSA's lead candidate EPI 7386 in combination. Okay. ESSA Pharma appoints Philip Kantoff to its board of directors, and ESSA Pharma provides corporate update and reports financial results for fiscal third. I think it's quarter or period, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so interesting. So one is kind of a technological update, one is a governance report, reporting the board, and one is financial. So, you know, this company seems pretty active. You know, sometimes you go on these companies and you don't hear no news or no new developments or no movement in the company. So, you know, seeing that they've got not only news, but news in various different areas shows that the company is progressing forward. So the science. ESSA's investigational therapies are designed to disrupt the antigen receptor AR signaling pathway, the primary pathway that provides prostate cancer growth, and prevent AR activation through sensitive binding to the N-terminal domain, a region of the AR that is not currently targeted by other therapies. So it definitely sounds quite interesting and promising in terms of the elimination of cancer. You know, it's a big industry. You know, being such a big industry, you'd have a lot of these companies that may come out against you if you try to cure some of these diseases, if you know where I'm coming from. But, you know, even the idea that it's a possibility is quite interesting. And here they have can we play the animation? So this is giving an idea of, not gonna lie, none of this means anything to me. But the words meant a bit more than the animation. Again, if you guys want to take time and watch this animation and go into more depth, the link will be in the description. Prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is the second most frequent diagnosed cancer among men in the United States. Currently, Standard prostate cancer treatment often includes the administration of androgen deprivation therapy, ADT, and androgen therapies, all of which target the ligand binding domain of the AR. ESSA is developing a novel therapy to complement these advancements by targeting the opposite end of the androgen receptor, the N-terminal domain. Okay, events and presentation, latest corporate presentation. Clinical trials. ESSA is currently conducting a monotherapy phase 1 open label clinical trial with EPI 7386 for patients with castration resistant prostate cancer, CRPC. ESSA is also conducting phase 1 of 2 study of EPI 7386 in combination with enzalutamine in patients. Enzalutamine in patients with, wouldn't be a pharmaceutical company without complicated words, with metastatic CRPC who have not yet been treated with second generation antigen therapies. All right, and they have an office in Canada and an office in the United States, both Miami and San Francisco. Let's just click on the about more, learn more. Let's see if we can find out any more brief information about the company. Yeah, it's not too much writing here. All right. Developing the next generation of treatments for prostate cancer. ESSA is a clinical stage pharmaceutical company focused on developing novel and proprietary therapies for the treatment of prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is predominantly driven by the antigen reception AR. Currently, the current standard of care androgen therapies targeted one end of the reception, the ligand binding domain, which can eventually lead to treatment resistance. Our lead candidate, EPI-7386, is a highly selective oral small molecule that inhibits the N-terminal domain of the AR, which is located on the opposite end of the receptor and is not targeted by any antigen therapy. EPI-7386 is in development initially as a monotherapy for patients who have progressed on the second generation antigen therapies. Additionally, EPI-7386 will be studied in combination with antigen treatments in prostate cancer patients who are either in their course of the disease. Through deeper and broader inhibition of antigen-induced biology, combination therapy may provide additional benefit to prostate cancer patients than current antigen therapies. Learn more about our preclinical and clinical programs. Guided by the highest standards of scientific rigor and integrity, ESSA is comprised of experienced management and scientific teams with a deep drug development expertise, along with a global network of scientists and clinical investigators. All right, so that's a bit about who they are. Again, if you guys want to look in more detail about who they are, the link to this website will be in the description. All right, next, let's look at why they are pumping so much today, up 196%. If you were paying attention, there was part of this that we covered that did kind of cover that and gave you a bit of the reason. But we're going to go into a bit more depth by bringing up this next article. Again, guys, if you're finding the information useful, then please hit the like button and help promote this stream. All right, this is our next article that we're bringing up. Again, this article will be in the description box, the link to it. It's an article from Investor Place, and it says why ESSA PHARMA, EPIX, stock is up 156% today. It's actually up 196%, but you know, maybe at the time of the article it was 156%. It says clinical trial data is behind EPIX's rally today. So if you're paying attention earlier when we covered the news, we spoke a bit about this clinical trial data that took place today. So it says ESSA PHARMA EPIX stock is rocketing on Wednesday thanks to clinical trial data that covers the treatment of metastatic castration-resistant prostate cancer. Data from its test of EPI-7386 produced positive results. So, I mean, this is good, right? So the clinical trial came through about the treatment of castration-resistant prostate cancer. Again, nobody wants, treatment that's going to castrate you for prostate cancer. So the fact that it produced positive results, this is a good step in the right direction for the elimination or the treatment of prostate cancer. And again, in a castration-resistant manner. So let's look into a bit more about this article. ESSA PHARMA, Nasdaq EPIX stock is flying higher on Wednesday following the release of data from a phase 1 of 2 study of EPI-7386. EPI-7386 is a drug in development for the treatment of metastatic castration-resistant prostate cancer. The latest study saw the drug used in combination with enzalutamide, I think. The results show it was safe while enzalutamide exposure saw minimal impact. ESSA Pharma intends to provide a more in-depth look at the clinical trial results during an upcoming presentation that will take place at the 2022 Prostate Cancer Foundation Scientific Retreat, which starts tomorrow and lasts through Saturday. So that's, pretty soon. ESSA Pharma will move forward with more studies. And David Parkinson, MD, President and CEO of ESSA Pharma, said as much in a statement. The therapies continue to be safe and well tolerated, and pharmacokinetic results demonstrate enzalutamide exposure was minimally impacted by EPI-7386 as expected. We are currently enrolling a third dose escalation cohort as we optimize the therapeutic dose of EPI-7386 in combination with study in preparation for phase 2. Not much left of this article. All right, today's news has shares of EPIX stock seeing incredibly heavy trading as of this writing. More than 66 million shares of the stock have been traded. That's a massive surge compared to the company's daily average trading volume of roughly 171,000 shares. So interesting, up to 66 million shares in volume from 171,000 shares. EPIX stock is up 156% as of Wednesday afternoon. There's more hot stock market information for true traders, blah, 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 blah. All right, so we found out exactly why they are raising and why they're spiking. So let's take a look on TradingView and look at the technical analysis and do a bit more reading into what this price movement is actually doing on the charts. Let me know in the comment, guys. Is this something that you're interested in getting involved in? Do you see a long-term future with ESSA Pharma, or do you believe this is just one of these pump and dump momentary stocks? And if you do believe that, are you looking to invest in a bullish nature in terms that you believe that this stock is going to go from strength to strength and keep growing, as time goes on? Or do you believe that this is a momentary pump and then your aim is to short it back to its, normal relative levels? Let me know in the description where you guys' mindset is actually at. All right, this is TradingView. This is our 4-screen setup with also some of our custom coded indicators. If you want to get your hands on our focus on investing custom coded indicators that help you analyze charts a lot easier and a lot quicker, then go to focusoninvesting.io. There you can also get your hands on our templates and our trading course that teaches you how to do technical analysis on stocks, commodities, cryptocurrencies, and forex pairs. All right. This is ESSA Pharma Inc., ticker symbol EPIX. Let's start with the monthly time frame. We look at the monthly time frame and we zoom out a bit. We can see that the chart or their initial public offering was in January 1997. So they've been around for quite a while. Quite a spiky chart, especially in the early days. But even saying it's quite spiky, the movement is in a relative range. Usually, when you see a chart or a stock get initiated into the markets, you either see a massive spike or like a massive tanking. And here, although there's quite a bit of price movement, you know, it's in a decent range, right? It's not tanked all the way to the bottom. It's not did a crazy spike and then a crazy dump. There's quite a decent range. It went up, it came down, all within the same similar range, went up, and then even went a little bit higher, came back down to this range. So if we draw like a channel, let's draw it from about here. Again, we have our pivot support and resistance line here. So this is kind of giving us a bit of an indication of maybe a certain level of channel. If we draw the channel for like the early days and then bring it down, we can see that price is relatively within this channel movement. You know, we're looking at a low or support level of $71.53 and a high of $299.68. So quite a wide range, but even though it's quite a wide range, we've seen price just moving within this range, you know. And again, we've got spikes here at the top. We got you know, I wouldn't even call them fake outs because they're quite decent runs to the upside, you know, and we can see that our highest, you know, point is $534.91. So we can see like quite a high price point for this chart. But even again, even saying that, you know, you think about the range between, you know, $532 and, you know, $71, quite a big price movement. But we do seem to revisit these price points. It's not like a random spike and a random dip. That we started off for our middle price, gone up to our $300 level, down to our $70 level, you know, back up to 300, breaking up, breaking down. So we revisit these price points numerous times. So, you know, it's a good kind of indication that this is not this kind of like hype or excitement or just temporary pumps within the price. You know, revisit these price points repeatedly. So that is a good indication. And then we see here around the December 2007 time frame, if we get our arrow, we see that price tanked out of this chart and moved down to this kind of low price point of around almost nothing, basically. So after having such a good price movement, it's tanked down to basically nothing. And this is where it's kind of remain, and it looks quite flat here. But as we're going to the lesser time frames and get into more drill down and looking at price, we'll see, you know, a bit more price movement and differentiation between these smaller bars. But relatively, they're quite small in compared to our massive price ranges here. So we've had a lot of, you know, flat price movement until we've got to, when is this? July 2015, seen a massive spike here of price movement coming up, you know. We see this massive spike of price raising up. So this, you know, stock does have the potential when it gets good news to definitely move and trend quite well. And we're seeing this spike. Spike is taken us right back into our channel again here. But then again, you know, not long after, price again is trickled back down out of this channel and back down to our lower price point. If we look here, down here. Yeah, and again, as we zoom in, we start to get a bit more. But even when we zoom in, still quite very flat here. You know, seeing this price tank, and then we had this little bit of a spike here. We will look at this in more detail. And then we're seeing price come all the way back down to our flat line again. All right, let's go to, I mean, if we're looking at, because we're so flat, all of the monthly pivot support and resistance levels are way above price. Again, we've got one established here for this massive spike, another one here on this spike here. But generally, these are, you know, quite a way above price. So although those are areas of resistance, you know, price is trading so low below them that I don't really perceive them being any sort of resistance in the immediate time frame. All right, let's go into the weekly time frame and drill down in a bit more detail. If we're looking more at the weekly time frame, again, we can see that the current trend filter in the weekly time frame is red. Again, the trend filter is a custom indicator by Focus on Investing. To get your hands on it, go to focusoninvesting.io. So the red trend filter indicates bearish price movement, right? So quite a bit of bearish price movement since the week of August 2021. We can see that price is trading below the 50 simple moving average and the 200 simple moving average. The 200 simple moving average is quite a flat line. Again, this is because price has generally been flatline. And again, the 50 simple moving average is just reacting to this spike in price movement that we had. Quite a bit of high price movement, and then price just slowly trickled down to the downside. And again, being quite flat. If we look at a closer detail, we can see that we're getting quite a few levels of pivot support and resistance. And if you look even, like, obviously we've got a level of support here indicated by this dashed red line, and that goes back to this low point here of the bar of the week of August 2021. And again, we've got another situation here, Monday, the week of October 2021. Again, all in similar areas and price points. Another one here, January 2022, all in a similar line when we're talking about pivot support and resistance levels. Even when we look here, we see a resistance level indicated by this green line and this candle of the bar of the week of April 2022, and they're all in a similar sort of level and similar sort of area, right? So that's one level of support and resistance. Then if we look at our moving averages, we see the 200 simple moving average just above that line. So again, remember, these areas of support and resistance are areas and not specific price points. So they're all in the same similar area. You see the 200 simple moving average. Similarly, we see the 50 simple moving average, although it kind of passes through that area, it's just currently around that area as well. The 200 simple moving average and the pivot support and resistance levels. But what else do you notice? If you look closely, you see the round number of $10. Now, round numbers are also an area of support and resistance. So we've got the round number, which is 1. We've got the 200 simple moving average, which is 2. We've got the pivot resistance level, which is 3. We've got the pivot support level, which is 4. And then we've got the 50 simple moving average, which is 5, right? So again, all of these areas are starting to form quite a strong level of resistance for price. Now we're seeing price rising up to this sort of area, but we could expect that this $10 area is going to be a strong, or even before that, it's probably going to be around the $8 area, where we're going to see price struggle to kind of break through these sort of areas unless, you know, we get a massive price boost and a massive price movement to the upside. All right. So let's look at our weekly time frame and we get the most information on the smaller time frames. But again, we like to look at the higher time frame, so it gives us a better overall picture of what the actual stock is doing. So the first thing we notice that we've mostly got red trend filter on this stock. Now, we did notice on the weekly time frame that we had a red trend filter, so that would be correlation, except the most current bar or candlestick is actually green trend filter. So we don't have correlation between the weekly and daily time frames. That's the first thing to notice. Current price is $410. Sorry, $410. $4.10, excuse me. Let's see if the market is still open or the market is closed. The market is still open, so price movement will be occurring during our review of this. If we look at our percentages for the day, it says we're up 138.37%. So where did I get 196 from? So we're going to take it from the close of yesterday. We see this was a bearish candle, so we take it from the bottom of the candlestick. Went a bit high there. Let me draw that again. If we go to the bottom of the candlestick, say about here, it's just roughly. And then the top of where the top of the wick went, and we see 198. I think I said 196, 198, in that sort of ballpark area. We can basically say, let's say you can round it up to 200%. So 200% price movement just in today alone, since the close of last night. We see on the last day, we was down 6.01%. And again, that was a bearish candlestick. For the week, we're up 120.65%. And for the month, we're up 123.08%. 08, yeah, 0.8%. All right, if we look at our percentage up and down indicator, where are we wrong? There we go. We can see that we're down 72%, 72.648% off of our high, which was $14.88, as we're currently trading at $4.07. All right, so again, we can see this price movement. Price is slowly trickling down in this red trend filter as bearish price movement. So a little bit of recovery, as we tend to see with this stock. Even though we do see price movement moving quite bearish, we do see quite bullish spikes. We see a bullish spike here, price comes back down, a bit of a bullish spike here, come back down again, and a bit of bullish spike here. So we definitely see, price uplifting from time to time. And then when we get here, we see this massive price spike here from the bottom of yesterday all the way up to the spike of today. We see this massive spike. But what do we notice? If we zoom out a bit in our chart to get a better view, what do we notice of where the spike ended? We notice that the spike ended at the 200 simple moving average. And this is why we talk about the importance of technical analysis, right? Because if you understand how to read the charts and have certain indicators, you can predict where price is likely to stop or find what we call resistance, right? And we can see it here. Is a perfect example. Prices come all the way up to the 200 simple moving average, stopped and bounced back down, to our current 412 price point, right? So, this is again another example of why you need to be using technical analysis in order to analyze your investments. Excuse me. So, again, we can see that price is trading above the 20 simple moving average, above the 50 simple moving average. It's broken through this, pivot support level, and made its way to the 200 simple moving average and bounced from that. Again, we can see in terms of pivot levels, we don't really have, many around price currently. We have this one quite a bit higher at this $6 area, and then one quite a bit lower at this $202.41 area. It's quite a big gap. And again, this is because we've had quite a bit of smooth price movement to the downside. Yeah, we have had a bit of pullbacks, but these pullbacks have not been strong enough to create a level of pivot support and resistance, in the charts that might hinder price. So, with that being said, we've got quite a bit of free range price movement from where the high of price was and the low of. So again, whenever we talk about, what are strong levels of pivot support, the moving averages can be one, with the 20 simple moving average being the weakest, the 50 simple moving average being the middling strength, and the 200 simple moving average being the strongest. So again, it's bounced off of the strongest moving average. So, will it be affected by the 50 simple moving average? Possibly, if we zoom out on the charts and look as the history of this chart being affected by the 50 simple moving average, I would say yes, price is generally trading below the 50 simple moving average. Even here, we've seen a bounce off of the 50 simple moving average. It's respected it here and here. It's broken through it. When it's broken through, it's respected it on the upside as a level of support. It bounced off of it, and then it broke through. So I would say generally it has respected the 50 simple moving average. See another bounce here. Generally it bounces off of it, and when it does break through, it then it changes the level of resistance for a level of support and bounces off of it on the other side. So I'd say generally we can expect to see that this chart will respect the 50 simple moving average and the 200 simple moving average in terms of support and resistance, right? So to the downside, if we zoom in a bit more, if we look to the downside, we could probably say that, price is not likely to go back to its low levels, and it's likely to get caught up somewhere between this pivot support and resistance and the 50 simple moving average. So the upside, we've got this level of 200 simple moving average, and we've got this level here, at $6. Again, if it does manage to break through this 200 simple moving average, what doesn't look likely, anytime soon. But if it does, we can see that we've got this level here and then another level quite a bit higher. So generally, we're looking at working within this kind of area here. So if we was to highlight any pivot support and resistance areas in this between these two, pivot support and resistance levels, we can look at, where do we see levels possibly forming? Maybe a level forming here, be a level forming here, be a level forming here. Maybe that would kind of be the only levels. And then when we kind of look at now, when we've drawn these lines and we look in more detail, we can see that, where the kind of strongest ones are. This one here doesn't look to be too strong, as it's just more or less a 1 point. But if we look at these two upper support and resistance levels, we can see that actually there's quite a few bars that terminate here. If we look at the first initial place, we can see that these 4 bars here all kind of terminate around the same sort of area, which is this line. But then if we go back in history, we can now see that, after drawing these lines, you can see where the wick of a lot of these other bars have terminated. A lot of these other candlesticks have terminated around that level here. So again, the more that, these candlesticks or bars finish at a certain level, the more strength it gives that level of support and resistance. So we can see that here. And then also we can see this here. Not only do we see it on the front end with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bars on the front end that finish at this kind of price point, but also on the back end, we see these two from, the 1st and 2nd of June. So now that we've highlighted that, we can now see exactly why price, if we zoom in and we extend it a little bit more, we can now see exactly why price is kind of hovering around this area at this price point at current. Is really close to this level of support and resistance. And remember, these levels of price points aren't exact price points, they're actual zonal areas. And we can see that price is definitely hovering within this area and this price point. So again, if we were to draw a channel of price, I would say, where do we want to draw it from? Do we want to do the whole thing? Yeah, let's draw the whole thing. Put it from here to here. And we can say that in this area here, we can see that, price is probably going to be, terminating somewhere around that. But even in doing that, we always remember that we have a level of resistance and a level of supporting channels, but also the level in the middle is quite significant. And then now when we've drawn the level in the middle, look at exactly where price is. So this is giving us a bit more of a clearer indication of where this level of support and resistance is. Now that we've highlighted this top level from our pivot and support indicator, and this, or it wasn't from the, it was from the, sorry, the support and resistance that we drew in, and the support and resistance that we drew in at the bottom as well, we can now see that this area in the middle is definitely a kind of a strong area of support and resistance. Now, it wasn't clear at first, but then when we started doing our markup, we can now start to identify these key levels of support and resistance. So again, we can see that this level between this $4.33 and $4.43 area is quite a strong area of support and resistance on this chart. So again, this is ESSA PHARMA, EPIX, and this is, grown up about 200% for the day. Now, if you guys want to learn how to, spot these opportunities before they even grow, if you want to spot them, and get into them at the bottom here so that you can ride these growth all the way up, then you need to be taking our investing course that teaches you how to get involved in these opportunities. Not only that, we will also give you the trade signals and let you know the trade signals that are about to explode so that you can get in at the bottom, and then you can experience, 200% growth in one day. If that sounds like something that is interesting to you, then go to focusoninvesting.io. There you can, get our trade signals ahead of time before they explode. You can also learn how to identify and mark up the charts yourself to conduct, better analysis for yourself. And then also get your hands on all of our templates and indicators that allow you to read the charts better. All right. So again, if you want to, learn more about or see more in-depth reviews of technical analysis, if you look at this video here on the left, we've got our weekly coverage or roundup of all the trending cryptocurrencies, commodities, stocks, and forex pairs throughout the markets. And this video here on the right is our last trending in-depth review of a trending asset. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me, and take care.